Simply put, you either love these casters or you're wrong.
The first game I played was Warcraft 2, like way back when. But in terms of competitive gaming, was the original Counter-Strike in the beta versions, like Beta 7, back in like 2000, 2001. Played that for a number of the years before getting competitive with it, but that was really what got me involved in esports. So my alias is Moses. I got that, it was a weird path. I had a couple names before it, but I always really, despite not being religious, I always really liked the biblical theme around the alias. That idea of the biblical theme was pretty appealing to me. So toyed with a couple different names, but landed on Moses, and it just kind of stuck one day. And then once you have any amount of success in esports, once you build up your name at all whatsoever, you're kind of stuck with whatever you picked. So I guess I'm just a little bit lucky that it's not as silly as some of the other names I had. The original name I had was Angel. I was very young. I very much liked the stories and the mythology behind angels, and then I went through, you know, my emo goth phase, and I was Dark Angel for a while. But you know, had to switch things up and grow up at a certain point. Being a professional player in some of the earlier days was really weird because the word professional back then didn't really mean what it means today. There were no salaries when I started competing at a professional level, so when we used professional back in 2001, 2002, 2003, it wasn't that you were making a living or actually being a professional, it was just that you were competing at the highest level of Counter-Strike. I didn't think I would be a professional gamer back then. I think I was one of the cynics of the whole thing where, you know, I actually played with my brother. My brother was the one who actually thought that he could convert that in 2005, 2006 into an actual lucrative career as a professional video gamer. And at the time, I was the one who was just like, no, that's not realistic. It's not big enough. It's not going to happen. When I kind of went off to college and stopped competing, I didn't know what I wanted to go into, and I was still watching Counter-Strike. I was still playing it for fun. It still occupied a lot of my time, despite the fact that I wasn't competing or putting effort into being a professional. So I mean, there was always that kind of dream, you know, in the back of your mind during those times that you want to come back, you want to find a way to be involved in esports. It's one of the coolest communities. It made up such a big part of my young life, my high school, like just growing up. It's weird. I don't think I knew I wanted to become a caster until I was already doing it. Obviously, when Global Offensive was released in about 2012, I had like this idea in my head of, you know, you are a little bit old, as crazy as that sounds in video game world. I think I was 27 at the time, but it was at that point where I think coming back and being a professional player was kind of an outrageous dream to have at that point, to be able to make a salary and a living off of it. But I did want to come back and play for at least a year and then transition into trying to cast. And at that point, I didn't know it could be a career. At that point, it was just, you know, a cool way that I was thinking, make a very small amount of money on the side of whatever job I had, and just a way to stay involved in a hobby that I loved. And then the game just blew up from there. And it all just kind of fell into place, and it's obviously worked out pretty well. Actually, I mean, the transition was surprisingly easy, I mean, it was difficult in terms of what I actually had to do as a commentator, the skills to develop there, but in terms of being well received, I was one of the first, I think, ex-players to really transition into casting and give it like 100% and treat it like that was going to be the new focus. I think Henry G was very soon around that time as well. I got a lot of support from some of the professional players that I just finished competing with and against. You know, was having a lot of good comments coming from them, that they appreciated the kind of style I was bringing with the view of being a professional player. I mean, you know, it's weird because ESL One Cologne, I have this really cool video of when we first got introduced to the stadium, and there was no one in it. They were just kind of testing out the sound system and everything, and they had the intro video, and I think that was like take your breath away kind of thing. That event in particular in 2015 was the realization of a lot of those dreams that myself, my brother, like a lot of the players from way back in the day kind of had. Like, what if we get to play this game in an arena? What if we get to play this game in front of thousands and thousands of people? So Cologne 2015 is always going to have a special place in my memories. Even still though, I mean, MLG Columbus, ESL New York, which are out right now. I mean, these events, these North American crowds are incredible. And for me, as a North American, obviously the stereotypical North American fanboy of the talent group, of the on-screen talent, I love these events. I love seeing the crowd cheer. I love that the USA chant is incredible. It's all just so much fun.
Check out Yahoo Esports Live every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific.
You either love the chocolatey, peanut buttery deliciousness of Reese's Puff cereal, or you stuck your tongue to a frozen pole in 4th grade, and it's still there. Reese's Puffs. You either love them, or you're wrong.